far over R1 billion in irregular expenditure has been recorded by 3 public transport entities, and Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula gave an update on the state of these entities at the Sandton Convention Centre earlier today. There are 12 state-owned entities that fall under Mbalula's department. These include the beleaguered passenger rail agency Prasa and the Road Accident Fund. Senior reporter Siphamandla Goge was at the briefing. Let's cross over to him live now to ask him a few questions. Siphamandla, we know that yesterday, after the announcement of that new variant discovered here in South Africa, there's been reaction from the UK. Anything said by the Minister of Transport about us going back on that red list?
Well, he says he is concerned, like most South African government officials will be, because this will have a negative impact when it comes to South Africa and the tourism industry. We all know that the festive season is fast approaching, and South Africa is regarded as one of those well-known international destinations when it comes to tourism. So this will definitely affect tourism and business in South Africa. It does not only mean that South Africans can't go to the United Kingdom, but it simply means citizens of that country too cannot come to South Africa. And in terms of trade and tourism, we all know that the United Kingdom and South Africa have got strong ties. So South Africa being placed back on that red list will definitely affect tourism at a time whereby the sector was starting to pick up after a number of lockdowns that have been implemented in South Africa following the spreading of coronavirus in the country. So Fikile Mbalula, as the Transport Minister, he was going at length in saying he hopes that this decision will be reviewed at a later stage, but we do understand that South African authorities will be engaging with their counterparts in the United Kingdom to try and get a sense of how to prevent what will be crippling in terms of tourism and business in the country. So he is very crucial in terms of transport, because remember, the Airports Company of South Africa is responsible for the movement of people in the country. They administer airports in the country, including one of the busiest airports in South Africa and in the continent, that is the OR Tambo International Airport, as well as Cape Town and King Shaka in KwaZulu-Natal. Let's take a listen to what Mbalula had to say about this.
It will affect us in terms of tourism. COVID-19, that is what it does. So once our scientists here announced that there is a variant in South Africa, it came from Hong Kong and here. So countries are alert, and those countries have already done a lot of vaccination. Here in South Africa, people were still debating vaccination. And vaccination rollout is for free for our people to preserve, life and to undermine fatalities that come as a result of COVID-19. So there's a lot of theories that government is imposing vaccination. No, we want to get out of this prison. And any solution that is coming to the fore, like the vaccination, we need to embrace it.
All right, Siphamandla, we know that e-tolls remain a thorn on the ANC side. Has the Transport Minister said anything about that in terms of the decision thereof?
Well, you have to wait a little bit longer, at least up until next year, when the Finance Minister delivers his budget speech in Cape Town in Parliament, because according to Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula, that announcement will be made by the Minister of Finance next year. He says they are still trying to work out the decision here and the financial implications. Earlier on, I asked him whether was there a decision on the table when it comes to the future of the e-tolls. We all know that in Gauteng, the ANC and the alliance partners have been speaking harshly and strongly against the e-tolls here. The ANC's National Executive Committee has been at pains in terms of taking a decision about the e-tolls. The national government has been forced to take a decision and communicate this matter, which will definitely affect the country as a whole. This is what Minister Mbalula had to say about the e-tolls.
That decision on e-tolls will be made. The minister will speak to that in February. We had agreed that he will do that in the mid-term budget speech It is quite clear in terms of the decision, consultation process from the side of Treasury have not been finalized. And by the time we get to February budget, the Minister will speak on that particular matter. Now, the people we're borrowing from, we engaged with them, they said to us, look, whether you scrap or you do anything, how we get our money, it will be your decision. So whatever you do, we need to get money somewhere in terms of the e-tolls. So it's not an easy decision, you scrap and then you go away. It is not like that.
So the minister says he's meeting with some of those entities that are under his department. Tell us why he said he needs to meet with them and which ones exactly are struggling.
He's meeting with them inside this venue because he has to get a state and a sense of what is happening in those entities. Remember, it's quite a number of them. There are about 12 to 15, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, the well-known ones here being Prasa, being AXA, as well as others that the minister is meeting with here, including Sanral. But they are just trying to get a sense of what is happening, you know, what are the challenges, and also look for possible solution, because a majority of them are facing financial difficulties. There are issues with management and leadership, whether senior management, administratively, or at a board level. And I can tell you that Prasa has come under the spotlight here. We all know that the group CEO has been placed on suspension. It's something that has featured strongly here. Mbalula going at length to admit that, yes, indeed, Prasa is in crisis. He says it needs to be fixed urgently. It looks like we may see an overhaul of management and leadership at Prasa if things do not change, according to what Fikile Mbalula had to say. Let's take a listen to him.
Things are operating as we speak, but not in full capacity. There's a whole recovery plan at Prasa. You know, that is taking some time. We clearly at Prasa need to move with speed. And in the next coming weeks, we'll be sitting down with the board for me to get even reports on what is happening there. But generally, I'm not happy about the fact that we are not moving with the pace we are supposed to be moving at. As you would have heard my report, that situation is not deteriorating, but we are not moving. I don't know what is holding us back. We're almost finishing a year now since we brought stability, the board, and as well as the new group CEO. Things just got slowed down. They're not moving at all.